What's going on, guys? It's Philip at Trade Genius. Hope you guys are having a good week. I'm going to go over the Bitcoin charts and just take a look, update on the daily chart. Also take a look at the Delta chart and see what the futures activity is telling us for the week ahead. Real important one here is the capitulation of the miners. I wanted to talk about this. Very important that you understand what's going on here, what that means getting out of the post-halving area. Also wanted to revisit this chart. This is our fib multiplier, and good to note the levels that are in play here. So without further ado, let's dive into this video.
Trade Genius.
All right, guys, real quick, we have our specials running. This was a very popular package, and they weren't gonna run it, but they continued it because of the ribbon system and the profit sniper indicator, really popular. And so we continued that on. Just as an example, like when the guys are trading the futures on Bitcoin, this is a 15-minute chart. You can run it on a 5-minute or whatever, but I mean, it does a really good job at the cycles. And so I would, if you're looking to get into this system, this complements the ribbon system, but does a real good job, and guys are really liking this on the quick swings on Bitcoin and stuff like that. Works on everything. We even use it in the futures, trading the S&P 500 futures in the VIP room. But this is a very powerful indicator. Anyway, it's a heck of a deal. $3.99. You're in the room with us for a year, and so you get not only our handpicked signals, you get access to these indicators, the profit ribbon system with multi-part trading videos, and so a lot of bang for your buck. Again, that's 12 months, so it breaks down to pretty inexpensive on a monthly basis. So check that out. All right, guys, let's dive into the charts. Delta. Okay, so essentially we're in this big weekly block area. And we've talked about where this is going to be a bit of a battle in here. We're building up a lot of volume in this area. Last time we talked about this third spike on the Delta is probably an area to short. If you were in the room with us, we got into that and caught that short down. So now we're chopping. Now the next thing I want to look at is, if you'll notice in this area here, what did we do? We went sub-zero, and that's what I'm looking for here. And what that'll do is that's going to probably bring up another condition where we can draw a downtrend line, and that's going to be key for breaking back over that. And what that's going to do is we'll take a look at the daily. That's going to coincide with also a daily trend line. If you'll notice, what's kind of stopped Bitcoin right in its tracks is this big daily trend line, and this goes all the way to the top. And you'll notice that stopped us dead in our tracks. So very key spot, because that is the all-time high to most recent highs trend line, and there we are knocking on the door again. So it's very healthy that Bitcoin is at these levels pushing on that, but just keep in mind that's going to be a bunch of resistance. This is a trend line that's been intact for quite a while. Breaking above that will be a pretty big deal in my book, so keep an eye on that, but that's something very important that we're up against. Okay, one of the big ones is our capitulation. This is the hash ribbons indicator. You can get that on TradingView, just look it up. And if you'll notice, here was our halving area, and we, as expected, the hash rate fell off. So no surprise there. And we've also had a fairly large difficulty adjustment to the downside. So miners, boom, instantly lost half the revenue. They've got to turn machines off. They can't afford to run them. And then as such, you get a difficulty drop. What's been good for the miners is that price has gone up. And in reality, looking at where the miners produce Bitcoins and then whether or not they sell them, there's actually been, they haven't been selling as much. So what that means is they're making money, and they will, if they don't have to flip Bitcoin over and cover their costs, it's helpful to save it up, because if you do have to sell extra because things are getting lean or whatever, it's a little bit of a buffer, like a little war chest there, right? So the fact that they aren't selling as much as they're producing right now is very bullish. That means they're making money at these price levels, even with the halving doing what it did to production output. Now, whenever you get this capitulation, which you normally do after the halving, when this capitulation ends, now this is just simply 2 moving averages of the hash power, but when they cross back up, that's usually a very bullish sign. So here is when they crossed back up. Green light means go, nice rally. Here again, another one, green light means go, nice rally. So the big one is this next one. Normally you're going to see a bottom and then a turn up on these capitulation bands. And so we may be seeing that where we have this turn up. We'll have to see the next couple of days if this makes a lower low or not, but that's what you're looking for. In any case, this probably is going to play out over the course of the next 4 weeks or so. And when this turns green, meaning that the bands are turning back up because hash power is being added back to the network, that's going to be probably your big time get in now before the boat leaves, because it's going to go up for a long time after that. Historically, whenever you get that green button after the halving, it's where you see the multi-1,000% gains. So very, very important that you're getting locked and loaded, because at these levels, this will be the last time you see Bitcoin under 10,000. And if you're lucky enough to get another dip under 9,000, again, going to be long-term positioning in here, right? Not the short-term swing trade 15-minute stuff. This is the long-term stuff. But Bitcoin eventually is going to leave the station, and this sub 10K pricing is going to be a thing of the past. And people have to realize that you don't have to have a whole Bitcoin. You can own partial Bitcoins. You can always buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. Just turns into how much does that equate to based on price. But you don't. People looking at that price, I think they sometimes think they got to cough up 10 grand to buy Bitcoin and don't realize that it's fractional. So if friends, they don't understand that, you might want to let them know that it's still possible. But again, if it goes up 2,000%, whether you invested $100, $500, or you bought a whole Bitcoin, it's all going to go up the same percentage amount. And there's not a lot of things in this market, whether it's stocks, bonds, whatever, that are going to have that kind of potential growth appreciation. So it's big time. So pretty bullish spot here for Bitcoin. Again, anything south of 10K, 9K, even 8K. If you got it under 8K on a quick dip, that would be just really amazing. Again, this last dip we had, that we dropped about $1,000 from the 10,500 down. There were people buying that. I was talking to a few people that were waiting for that pullback, and we're getting in on that, and because they see it coming too as well. So really important stuff to understand where we are in the cycle. But this is the big one. This is really huge. So when this turns green, we'll cover it over in a upcoming video. But I think give it 3 to 4 weeks for that to happen. Overall, the market, the Fed has just gone crazy, and the whole market's acting like its punch bowl is spiked and everyone's drunk and happy. And it's amazing because considering what the fundamentals look like, it's really horrible. But all this stuff ends up spilling over to things like Bitcoin, and not only do people start to look to it as a hedge, but all that extra liquidity finds its way into Bitcoin. So will the market pull back appreciably? I don't know. And what I mean by that is the U.S. stock market. I really don't know. It's just everyone's just amazed at what it's done in the last couple of months, considering the carnage out there fundamentally. So it's really hard to say. Obviously, hitting the printing press is really hard. You can obviously force a market to stabilize and go up. Something to keep in mind, up to President Reagan, I think the combined addition of debt to our deficit was like $1 trillion up to Reagan, and we just added $1 trillion just in the 1 month. So that puts it into some perspective on how upside down everything is right now. And is it really healthy? I don't know. Printing $1 trillion of debt or to our deficit is not. I don't think you can spin that as healthy, but they are trying to do what they can considering the economy and the stoppage of it. But it's going to be very interesting. I don't think anybody can exactly tell you what's going to happen going forward with the economy, especially if there's so many variables still out there. So I do, though, like Bitcoin through all of this. I mean, if you think of all the things that Bitcoin's gone through recently, I think it's held up extremely well, and I think it's going to continue to do so because of the store value gold 2.0 play. So anyway, that's just my take on it. But again, here's a spot to really get long for long-term stuff, not short-term trading, but long-term trading next year to two out. This is the spot to do it if you haven't already. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. Again, if you're interested in checking this out, head over to Trade Like a Genius and check out our specials. $3.99 gets you those indicators and access to the room. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.